Hello and welcome back to the TVBinges.com Pilot Roundtable, a Southgate Media Group podcast. I'm Kyle Tremblay, the editor of TVBinges.com, and I'm joined as always by a fellow TV Binges writer. She's making her Major League debut right after this podcast. It's Olivia Richards! Hello!
Got the limousine ready and everything.
Yeah, that's right. You've got your sort of snappy agent. You're ready to go big time.
I'm good.
Leaving the minor leagues of this podcast. So today we are talking about Fox's newest baseball drama. It's called Pitch. Olivia, what did you think?
It should be noted that I hate every sport known to man.
You do?
I do. But I loved this show.
Hey!
I mean, it's a classic underdog story, and It's about, the first female MLB player, so I didn't really have a choice whether or not I was going to like it. It was kind of a given. But given that it's also a sports-themed show, yeah.
I was interested in that dynamic, for you, specifically.
Yes.
I knew you hated sports, but I also know that you love shows that star powerful women. So this is a good test, and it did win out. In the end, it sounds like that
Absolutely, it did.
It overcame your hatred of sports. For me, I like sports. I haven't watched a baseball game in 3 or 4 years. I don't care about baseball at all. I do live in San Diego, and my team growing up was the Padres. And it seems like the Padres are like a kind of perfect team for this show. Like, what I most appreciated about this show is how buyable the sports scenes were. Like, I really bought into them. I guess what this show is selling, and you, I hope will be able to talk more about sort of the specifics of like the characters and stuff. But what to me, what this show is selling is the realistic fantasy that could absolutely happen in real life someday. But it is selling this sort of fictional scenario of a woman playing Major League Baseball. And it is recreating what would happen as faithfully as possible. And to that end, in this pilot, I thought it was excellent. I thought the way that the media was talking was very believable. And I thought the sort of presentation, which was actually like the Fox game presentation, right down to the actual real baseball commenters, was so like it all felt very real. And I think that in this case, in some other cases, that like realism is not particularly important. You just sort of have to have the veneer of realism, and then you can do whatever you want. In this case, because the whole show is about selling that vision and making you sort of buy into this as an alternate reality scenario, I thought it was extremely successful in presenting this as as what would happen if this was real.
I completely agree. And I was actually reading about the production of the show and the fact that they were able to get the rights to use the interior and exterior of the stadium and, have access to the uniforms and some actual real live figures from like the major leagues was really, really incredible in setting up the scene. And it played as the perfect backdrop for this character who really, when it comes down to it, the focus is on her, but it makes it feel, like you had said, that it's very believable that it is possible and that this could be something that we can anticipate seeing in the future, which is really, really exciting.
What did you think about the main character, the lead performance? Because like you said, I mean, it is about her, no question.
Oh, absolutely. And I thought she was absolutely phenomenal. I think they did a great job setting up her relationship with her father, which I think was really instrumental in how she is as a player. It's not, just her in the game. And I think if you didn't have that backstory, there wouldn't be that the emotional connection to her as the underdog. So when you see her in the game, kind of getting in her own head and getting in her own way, I thought that was really, really cool because essentially they're setting her up as this character who is in incredible circumstances, but she's not perfect, which I feel like happens a lot in an underdog story, is that they want this character to be completely infallible. And you get to see from the very first episode that she does have flaws. She overthinks, she gets in her head, she gets angry, she gets stressed. But at the end of the day, she's in these incredible circumstances up against other people who are basically saying that, you shouldn't be here, you can't do this. And she's here to prove And not even say, I don't even want to say that she's there to prove people wrong. She doesn't want to do that. She literally just wants to play baseball, which I think is a really cool point that they stress.
Yeah, absolutely. And also later on, they point, there's this complicated relationship with her father where she doesn't even know if she wants to play baseball necessarily. Like, she wants to do that from a sort of internal motivation to succeed at life. But her father, as she points out to him directly, put her on this track at a very young age. And it's really like come at the expense of the rest of her life. And she doesn't really have a lot of friends, and she doesn't have a lot of other stuff going on. She's really only ever been prepared to be a baseball player, and she wants to be good at it for those reasons. And she doesn't really she's not comfortable with being a sort of role model and hero. But she's also a little bit upset about how it came about. And so there's a lot going on here. What did you think about? I agree with you. I think that the lead character is great, and Kylie Bunbury's performance is really good, and she plays a lot of different notes here. What do you think about her performance on this show versus your favorite, Under the Dome, where she played Ava?
I think. Oh, and Ava was in there for such a short period of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna say that there's not much of a competition there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say if I had to pick one or the other, I think I'm gonna go with Pitch.
Yeah, I can't blame you. And good to see Zach Morris as the bearded catcher, the superstar.
Yes. Oh, Mark Paul Gosselaar was incredible in this.
Mark Paul Gosselaar playing the sort of all-star catcher who is a little bit indignant and kind of a jerk, but also like clearly like he's the one who delivers the very like self-referential big speech to her that sort of turns her around and gets her throwing strikes again. And he's obviously like the sort of male lead of the series. It's just great seeing Zach Morris out there. Great seeing him with a beard. Always glad to see people joining Team Beard. Where I think this didn't work, and my problem with the show is outside of the baseball stuff, I was utterly uninterested. I'm the sort of scenes where she was with like one of her, like her agent or her girlfriends or whatever, or like the flashback when she gets in like the car accident, like all that stuff to me kind of, I don't know, and the show has to do this because it's a television show and you only sort of get to do this first triumphant story once. And then you have to settle into being a television show, which means you have to sort of create drama and throw out plot lines. But I just get the sense that, like, the more, like, sort of soap opera style stories, car crashes, drama with her dad, and like, she's having, an incident with another player in the locker room, and, like, all that stuff, I'm just not that interested in. And that was my problem. Like, I felt like, for me, my interest waned in this pilot when we weren't just like on the field or, like she's like preparing to play, or we're dealing with the media or something directly relating to her being on the field.
I definitely agree with you there. And I think my fear for the show going forward is that it's going to lose its momentum. Like it had this incredible pilot, but because it already kind of hit it out of the park.
Nice.
But, then everything else is kind of going to only go down from there, or that they're going to get so wrapped up in creating this drama and tension like outside and off the mound that you're going to lose a sense of who this character is. And that's my fear going forward.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like it was amazing. Like to me, my favorite part of this was just seeing those first moments. And I agree with you. Like what you said earlier about, it was great to see her fail. It was great that she was presented as this sort of master of the universe to start with. She knew exactly what to say. She was being sassy. She was not taking any of the sort of stuff. She certainly isn't, she isn't shy, but she gets on the mound and she struggles like badly. And then, she has to sort of get it back together. And even the triumphant moment of this pilot is like 6 innings, 3 runs allowed. Like she had a good, solid start, but it's not like she was dominant. And she only throws like mid 80s, which for a baseball pitcher is not really workable. And it's like, I like that stuff. I like that it's not easy and she's not the most talented player. She's obviously like an incredible phenom, but she's not like in baseball terms, it's always an uphill battle for her. And it creates what you said, it creates the underdog story for her. But you only really get to tell that story once, and that was here in the pilot. Like, all the sort of media stuff, all the, all those amazing shots of Petco Park in San Diego and those first moments, like, all of that is a one-off. You get it once, and then, like, what do you do next week? That's what I'm saying about, like, worrying, are we going to start getting into sort of more traditional television storytelling about, brothers and sisters and family drama and relationship drama? Like, because it can't just be a show about a baseball season. It's got to be a show, it's got to have all this heightened drama. And I'm just curious, like, what kind of show this is going to be when you don't have half the episode devoted to sort of this unique event.
I completely agree.
So, this one, unfortunately, did not do great ratings-wise. And it was a down ratings night for all shows on Thursday. This premiere did a 1.1 in the demo with 4.28 million viewers, which is, I think, the lowest rated. I think it's one of the 3 lowest rated shows of the season thus far. So,
yeah.
Do you think this one's... And to be fair, it is a sports show that was premiering against a football game on Thursday night. So you figure a lot of the audience is going to be watching football, but you also figure, like, it's a show set in baseball, so you've really only got old white men who are interested in baseball, but it's about a young black woman, which old white men tend not to be interested in. And so no. I just wonder who the audience is for this show, and it could be all the women like you who can sort of look past the baseball thing and see this as an inspiring story, which it absolutely is. I just wonder how many of them are going to enter the theater. Like, how many are even going to bother with a baseball show, even if it is, like, actually, like, empowering and interesting.
That's very true.
So, do you think this one will be canceled quickly, make it through the season, or renewed for next season?
I would love to see it get through the season, but I kind of have a fear that this might be canceled quickly.
Yeah, I think I don't know if this is going to get through the season. I think it probably won't, based on those ratings, and which is a shame, because I do think it has flaws, but I also think this pilot was really good, and in general, it seems like an interesting story and a very sort of interesting. We don't have a lot of sports shows, and I think that this is a really cool way to do one. So your final verdict, Olivia, thumbs up or thumbs down on Pitch?
Just based on this first episode, I couldn't not give it a thumbs up. I have to.
Yeah, I liked it. I wonder in 4 or 5 episodes if the show will even be on the air and if it'll still be good. But this pilot was unquestionably really good, and I think even for like a non-sports fan, as you've proven, there's a lot to like here.
I think so, and I'm hoping that, this might inspire another show going forward. If, like, another showrunner can take notes on what worked in this, hopefully we can see something. If this one doesn't work, hopefully there can be something else moving forward that can kind of fill in where this might have lacked.
Yeah, and I love this as a way to do a sports show, which is imagine a realistic but situation that has not happened yet, but one that conceivably could happen, and play it straight down the middle. Like, what would happen if this happened? And I think that's a really fun way to do a show about sports or other things too. And I think this pilot really executes it well. So you've been listening to the Pilot Roundtable at tvbinges.com and Southgate Media Group Production. You can listen to all of our episodes on iTunes, where you can rate and review us. We'd appreciate that. Or find us at southgatemediagroup.com. Follow Olivia on Twitter at RichardsOlivia and me on Twitter at KyleLovesTV. Until next time.